Gambia's Justice Minister provides information to the National Assembly as discussions on the election bill continues. South Africa plans to resume Johnson & Johnson vaccine trial after a brief suspension. And a Zimbabwean teenager uses her sporting skills to fight against early marriage in her country. Well, these and more coming your way in News Desk. Hello, this is Africa TV. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. Now, the Minister of Justice, Dauda A. Jallow, on Tuesday appeared before the National Assembly Joint Committee to give an overview of the 2020 elections bill. The Justice Minister was in Parliament to give more details regarding the bill as the Assembly members continue reviewing it. Here's more details of that in this report by Ndesise.
Following the presentation of the Elections Bill 2020 before the National Assembly, the Minister of Justice, Dauda A. Jallow, gives an overview of the bill before the Parliament today. The Attorney General is required to assist and provide technical as well as relevant information for the purpose of the consideration of the bill. As diaspora voting has been a concern for Gambians, Dauda A. Jallow said the provision of allowing diaspora voting is left with IEC to come with clear regulations.
There is a provision allowing diaspora voting. It subjected it to IEC coming up with a clear regulation as to how they wanted to go about it through inter-party consultations and possibly cabinet. But the fact that diaspora voting is allowed is provided for in the bill as well in clear terms. But IEC is required to come up with clear regulations as to, for example, how would they choose country A and not B, where there are Gambians residing in both countries? What will be the criteria of selecting the countries? Probably there are regulations. We expect also they need to tell us how are they going to hire the electoral officials in those countries, places of carrying out these elections, a lot of things.
However, the nominated member Yakumba Jaite raised concerns as to how the diaspora voting will be done despite the lack of laws governing the process of the registration. In response, the Attorney General said the ministry has reminded the IEC about some of the challenges with regards to diaspora voting in the Constitution.
That we sent to IEC, as far as I'm aware, it is the ministry that spotted it and brought it to the IEC's attention. When it was brought to my attention, I asked my people immediately to inform them, let them write to them and inform them there is a challenge with respect to diaspora voting that we have spotted in the Constitution. So if they are saying they have sent and asked us to amend, because the request for amendment of the section, I received it on my desk, I think last week or week before. That's very recent. After we wrote to them and showed them this provision, they replied and said, if this is a problem, then we recommend it be amended.
The Elections Bill 2020 has been moved to the second reading stage for lawmakers to debate on the merits and the principles of the bill sometimes last month. As critics say, the current laws don't create a conducive environment for free, fair and transparent elections. This bill, if passed, will replace the existing laws in the country governing elections. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Ndesise.
The Gambia National Assembly members continue to scrutinize the 2020 election bill. And from the report there by Ndesise, now to South Africa, where the country's health experts are considering resuming clinical trials of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines after it was suspended over fears of side effects. The country's health regulatory body says the trials could proceed with strong guidelines put in place. Few countries, including the United States, had halted use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines due to the unusual blood clots effects. Here's more details of that in this report.
South Africa is eager to get its Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine study back on track after it was temporarily halted over fears of clotting. The health regulatory has recommended that the Sisonke trial be allowed to continue with strict conditions.
The vaccine-induced thrombocytopenia and thrombosis is an idiosyncratic reaction. It's an immune-based reaction that is we cannot predict who gets it. Up until now, the cases worldwide have been in the age range of 18 to 48. And so, in fact, we are going to go ahead. We haven't seen a case of the so-called VITT or VIT in South Africa.
The benefits outweigh from Johnson & Johnson the current risks. And there was only one person that died in USA with this platelet problem. Remember, it's not the same than one would normally expect if you get clots. So this is a different mechanism that's being used. It's a very extremely rare condition.
Most recipients who have received the jab are women with an average age of 40. Just under 150 people have reported severe side effects, but none for clotting. Doctors are being asked to be vigilant as the possibility cannot be ruled out.
The VITT presentation is with severe, unrelenting headache or severe chest pain, unrelenting, and severe abdominal pain that is continuous and unrelenting. Those are because these are clots occurring in major venous systems in the head or in the abdomen, and this is not a mild presentation. People will want to go to hospital, and the clinicians need to be aware.
Recipients will also be updated accordingly before taking the jab.
And the informed consent forms will go through specifically all of the new information. So people are required to read that. This is a study, so that it is important for them to do before they sign off. Most of the information will then be done again at the vaccination site just to make sure that people do understand all of the information so that they're making an informed decision before they get their vaccine.
A decision on how soon vaccinations will resume is expected in the next coming days. 200,000 vaccines still have to be administered before a second phase mass rollout begins in mid-May.
The reporter in South Africa, we come back home and report on the ongoing public hearings of the TRC. Because former Attorney General Minister of Justice, Fafa Idris Mbai, said he advised against all the decrees violating the rights of Gambians during his time serving in the defunct AFPRC junta. Barrister Mbai made the remarks on his second day of appearance before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission on Tuesday. Details of that in this report by Khadija Tuseka.
Appointment of civil servants was done when the military junta took over, and lawyer Fafa Idris Mbai was among the personalities appointed heading the office of the Justice Ministry. The Attorney General Chambers is responsible for giving legal advice to the government. The office also has the mandate to uphold and guarantee the fundamental human rights of the people. In his testimony, Barrister Mbai said during his short time as the Attorney General, he advised against any legislation that is considered to violate the fundamental human rights of the people.
My stance had always been to advise against abuses and violations of human rights.
The
Attorney General, as the Chief Government Legal Advisor, takes full responsibility. The decrees or laws introduced while he is in office. Even if, as in my case, I have strongly advised against all the decrees that I was aware of and considered to be in violation of fundamental human rights.
However, Lawyer Mbai added that the AFPRC was not taking his advice into consideration, and there was nothing to stop them when they insisted on doing something in their own interest.
But my advice was not always taken. Because the conviction of the AFPRC, especially in relation to accountability, was so strongly held at the time that nothing could have stopped them but divine intervention.
There were laws enacted which violated the fundamental human rights of Gambians during the reign of the AFPRC. Lead Counsel Esa Fall raised a point to Barrister Mbai that people who write laws in the Ministry of Justice receive instructions for the drafting of these laws directly from the Attorney General. Barrister Mbai accepted responsibility for all the laws coming from the Ministry of Justice as he was the then Attorney General.
I think I have in my statement explained the circumstances and my situation as Attorney General. To that extent, I accept responsibility, not that I agreed with them, but that I didn't advise.
Okay.
And I think the repetition of it, which we have gone through already,
Okay.
may sound a bit prejudicial. You've said it already. And I've explained my position and the circumstances at the time.
Lawyer Mbai said he was called the Human Rights Attorney General because of his fight in upholding the fundamental human rights and advising against any decree of the AFPRC that is going to violate the rights of the people. This, according to him, resulted in his sacking 6 months on. Khadijatu Seka, iAfrica News.
Barrister Mbai appeared before the TRC for the second day to testify in his role as the Justice Minister during the administration of the AFPRC regime. We will bring you more details of his testimony in our subsequent news editions. Now, despite the impact of the global COVID-19 pandemic, Tunisian e-commerce industry gained momentum during the second phase of the pandemic. Businesses were adversely affected since the outbreak of the novel coronavirus, but many Tunisians got online to create job opportunities. The government has encouraged citizens to do more business with online formal market, which ASOS guarantees. Here's more details of that in this report.
Aissam Sefi is the founder and CEO of Big Deal, a successful Tunisian e-commerce platform. He says that the second wave of the pandemic has created jobs and offered opportunities for many businesses operating in the e-commerce sector.
The first wave of the pandemic was a difficult period due to the lockdown and the unpreparedness of the e-commerce ecosystem in Tunisia. Since then, we've adopted our activity and technology to the new market needs by connecting e-merchants with customers. Now the business is booming for e-commerce and payment on delivery.
The Big Deal founder is also the vice president of the National Chamber of E-commerce and Distance Selling in Tunisia. He represents hundreds of entrepreneurs who pay salaries, corporate taxes and social contributions online. The e-commerce trader decries the spread of the informal market on the web.
Many people who are working in the informal and parallel market have moved the business to the internet by selling smuggled products through social media. The digital transformation to e-commerce was faster for these illegal operators than ordinary companies, SMEs, retail sector, and even some startups.
Authorities in the North African state, however, say the Ministry of Commerce and Tunisian laws guarantee the rights of online operators as well as customers in the formal market.
My advice to the consumer is to buy from the online formal market because there are guarantees. Checking the online store notes and comments by other customers is important. The identity of the seller must be visible and the e-commerce return and refund policy respected.
Tunisians can use the Click to Pay and e-Dinar service to buy online. The Commerce Department says most transactions rely on payment on delivery, as many consumers still do not trust electronic payment systems. Despite the negative economic repercussions of the first and the second wave of the pandemic, experts believe the e-commerce boom is a bright spot. The Tunisian government is supporting all e-commerce projects in order to boost this sector in the country.
E-commerce business booming in Tunisia, and from that report we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remainder of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
dafa ne ci man coono di dem dëkk ba dëkka rawatina ba foofa ci Sénégal pour jëndi daal jeex na fii ci biir réew mi ak Stroll Company sa jaaxle jeex na waaw dineen defar bépp xeeti daal te itam dinay déggee rafet ci ay njëkk yu yomb compagnie bi lee di Stroll dineen la defaral daal aso bi fekkee ne da nga nekk ci political party bugg nga nuroo leeg say waay ngay dem foofa ca Stroll Company yi daal di la defaral daal bu dëgër baax te rafet moo xam itam da nga am xew bugg sa yére nuroog sa daal demal seeti ñii di Stroll Company te emun ci loolu dinañ la defaral sa daala si saasi boo demee ñi nata la nga toog wax leen li nga bëgg ñi defaral la ko te itam dinañ defar daala si wholesale wala retail seeti leen foofa sa Suncu Alaaji te nag lu ci gën a neex mooy doomi Gambian moo ko moom teg ci di dimbale ay ndaw pour ñuy am fu ñuy xëyee seeti leen foofa ca Suncu Alaaji ca Kunkujang Johnson boo demee rek di nga gis seen table nga daal di leen dem seeti sa xol nee nga am sa daale boo yàggami bi mun ngaa nemmeeku seen website bi si www.strollshops.com wala nga oo ñu si 7473692 wala 7150195 ak Stroll Company sa jaaxle jeex na ci dem beeg dëkk bi ci dàll kese.
Well, this is Africa TV, and welcome back from that break. Now, the United Nations Office of South-South Cooperation has donated 200,000 face masks to Rafaela, a women empowerment group, through the mayor of Banjul City Council. The donation, which took place in the capital city, was executed the United Nations Development Program representative to the Gambia. Madam Day hoped that the masks will help in the fight against the COVID-19 by reducing the number of cases. Amindao has more details of that in this report.
According to the 297th National Situation Report since the confirmation of the first case of the coronavirus disease in the Gambia, the total number of deaths stands at 170. As of Tuesday evening, 51 new cases were registered, taking the total number of COVID-19 cases ever confirmed in the country to 5,784. This is what Rafaela, a network of locally elected women in Africa, aims to counter with the support from the United Nations Office of South-South Cooperation. Saturday, the United Nations Development Program representative to the Gambia, said the face masks will be useful in reducing the number of cases.
This donation has, as I said, is very timely because we know we have a vaccine campaign already rolled out by the government of the Gambia with the participation of the people, and we appeal to everybody who is here and who is listening to go and get the vaccine. But we also know that while we are getting the vaccine, we still need our face mask to continue social distancing and to continue the struggle together against the COVID. And we are very delighted to stand here on the name of the United Nations Office of the South-South Cooperation that we supported, and I cannot thank also Thomas who helped us, our procurement officer, to make sure that we stand here today to receiving this material and these face masks, and that will for sure help to reduce the number of cases that we are having and move forward in the achievement of the SDGs as part of the priorities that we have.
Rahim Malik Low, the president of Rafaela, who doubles as the mayor of the Banjul City Council, highlighted the importance of their intervention.
These
donated face masks are not a small thing, because right now when you go out, you see that a single face mask can be costing $10. So if you take out one packet of face mask containing 2,000 pieces, multiply it by $10, that will give you $20,000 C. That 20,000, multiply it by 200,000. You will know that these standing items here right now are very important. But what we want is the ones going to receive this mask to use it as expected and to benefit from it as well, because the donors want us to give it to the deserving ones.
From the receiving point, Madam Lowe said that the mask will be further distributed to targeted regions, markets, health centers, and other public places across the country. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Amindao.
And from the report there by Amindao, finally to Zimbabwe next, where a 17-year-old girl is using her sporting skills to combat against early marriage in the remote settlement of the country's capital, Harare. She is using her taekwondo talent to inspire her fellow girls against child marriage while pursuing her career to represent her country in the major competitions. Despite efforts to formulate marriage laws to regulate the situation, many girls continue to fall as victims of early marriage and prostitution. Here's more details of that in this report.
Biting poverty in Epworth, an informal settlement in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, has forced many young girls into prostitution or early marriage. Natsirai Shemaritsa, who's seen several of her friends married off before they finished school, wants to prevent more of them from falling into the same predicament by training them in Taekwondo.
Some of the girls, they are experiencing difficult situations. They are living in a poverty-stricken area. So in order for them not to get married, they should endure the hardship. Taekwondo is very painful, and for one to continue, she has to endure the pain. So it teaches them endurance and also to believe even in their dreams.
Zimbabwe has a 33.7% prevalence of child marriages, despite the unions being outlawed under a constitution passed in 2013. Delays in aligning new and old provisions have created loopholes.
You know that now there is a bill that is at an advanced stage to try and see what could be done to make sure that there is harmony between the marriage laws. But we don't think that is enough to just have a law. A multi-pronged approach is important. Continue to empower young people with life skills education, with comprehensive sexuality education, and also engage the policy makers and also continue to advocate for implementation of the laws that are there.
Some of those life skills are being imparted in Natsirai's backyard, although getting everyone to join in hasn't been easy.
There was this myth that said if you do taekwondo, if you're a girl, you will not have children. And they also believe that taekwondo is only meant for boys. But I'm trying also to fight against that myth, that taekwondo is meant for everyone. We are all equal, we are all the same. We can do what boys can do even though we're girls.
The 17-year-old wants to prove this by representing her country at the Olympics one day. While Natsirai's Olympic dream may still be some years away, she can already take pride in the fight she's engaged in here, which is aiming to deliver a knockout blow to child marriages.
All right, what an inspiring report there from Harare, Zimbabwe. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you in this, of course, news edition. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, you can visit on our website, nonafrica.tv. But for now, though, many thanks for the privilege of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and bye for now.
They say we slept in one world,